The galactic trade station Epsilon 7 buzzed with activity as thousands of alien species conducted business across its massive corridors. Ambassador Nathan Cross walked through the crowded marketplace, observing the incredible diversity of life forms that called the galaxy home. As Earth's newest diplomatic representative, he still marveled at the sight of towering crystalline beings negotiating with small, furry creatures that communicated through color changes. What Nathan didn't notice was how every alien he passed gave him a wide berth. Conversations stopped mid-sentence when he approached. Market stalls suddenly became very busy with inventory checks. Even the massive Gorvak traders, known for their aggressive business tactics, stepped aside respectfully. Strange, Nathan muttered to himself as he approached a food vendor. Everyone seems so polite today. The vendor, a blue-skinned Altarian, with 4 arms, nearly dropped his serving utensils when he saw Nathan approaching. "Oh, human," the alien stammered, his voice trembling. "Please, honored one, what can this humble merchant offer you?" Nathan blinked in confusion. "Just some of those fruit pastries, please. They smell delicious." He reached for his credit chip, but the vendor quickly waved all 4 hands in panic. "No payment. Never payment from human. Please, take what you wish." The Altarian began frantically, packing food into containers, his movements jerky with fear. "I don't understand," Nathan said gently. "I insist on paying. It's only fair." The vendor's eyes widened in terror. "Fair? Human speaks of fairness? Please, I meant no offense. My family. My children." The alien was now visibly shaking. Deep, gravelly voice interrupted the scene. "The human is confused, Veltar. He doesn't know." Nathan turned to see an enormous creature approaching, standing nearly 8 feet tall with rock-like skin and glowing red eyes. The being commanded immediate respect. Other aliens in the marketplace scattered, creating a wide circle around them. "I am Corinth of the Stone Fleet," the creature rumbled. "You are the new human ambassador, yes?" "Nathan Cross, representing Earth," Nathan replied, offering his hand. To his surprise, the massive alien actually stepped back slightly. "Careful, human. Even friendly gestures from your kind carry weight." Corinth's voice held an odd mixture of respect and barely concealed fear. "You truly don't know, do you, about the power that shields your species?" "What power?" Nathan asked, genuinely puzzled. "I'm just a diplomat trying to buy lunch." A nervous laugh escaped from Corinth's throat. "Just a diplomat," he says. "Human, do you know why this entire station of 40 million beings gives you such respect? Why the Altarian would rather bankrupt himself than risk your displeasure?" Nathan looked around, finally noticing the fearful glances, the hushed whispers, the way entire crowds seemed to part before him like water. "I thought they were being friendly." "Friendly?" Corinth's rocky features twisted into what might have been amusement. "Young human, your species is protected by something that makes the most powerful empires in the galaxy tremble. We don't harm humans not because we love you, but because we dare not risk what comes after." "What comes after?" Nathan's voice was barely a whisper. Before Corinth could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Emergency lights bathed everything in red as an announcement echoed through the corridors in dozens of languages. "Attention, all beings. The Draconian. Warfleet has attacked a human research vessel in Sector 12. Repeat, humans have been harmed. All species are advised to prepare for immediate consequences. The power has been awakened." The marketplace fell into absolute silence. 40 million beings across the station stopped what they were doing. The only sound was Nathan's confused breathing. Corinth looked down at the young ambassador with something that might have been pity. "Now you'll see, human. Now you'll understand why your species walks through the galaxy untouched. The Draconians just made the same mistake their predecessors did 2 centuries ago." "What mistake?" Nathan asked, though he was beginning to dread the answer. "They forgot," Corinth whispered, "that some powers are not meant to be tested. The Draconians are about to remember why no one dares harm a human anymore." In the distance, through the station's massive viewports, Stars began to flicker and die as something vast and terrible moved through space toward the draconian homeworld. TIAO, Emergency Council Chambers of Galactic Station Epsilon 7 had never seen such panic. Representatives from hundreds of worlds crowded into the vast amphitheater, their voices creating a cacophony of fear and confusion. Ambassador Nathan Cross sat in the designated human section, still bewildered by the morning's events. Elder Zixandra, of the ancient Vortheli species, slowly approached the central podium. At over 3,000 years old, she was one of the few beings alive who remembered the last time the power had been awakened. Her crystalline form pulsed with nervous energy as she addressed the assembly. Silence. Her telepathic voice echoed in every mind present. We gather because the unthinkable has happened. The Draconian Empire has attacked humans. The power stirs once again. A representative from the Centauri Coalition stood up frantically. Elder Zixandra, surely we can negotiate. Send envoys to the Draconians. Make them understand their mistake. The Elder's form darkened. Young fool, do you think this is about negotiation? The Draconians have 3 hours before their star system ceases to exist. That is not a threat. It is a fact written in the fabric of reality itself. Nathan rose from his seat, his voice cutting through the murmurs. Elder, I demand an explanation. What is this power everyone speaks of? Why won't anyone tell me what protects my species? The ancient being turned her attention to the human ambassador. You don't know because your leaders chose to shield you from the truth. They feared you would lose your humanity if you understood what guards you. The chamber fell silent as Zixandra began to project holographic images above the assembly. The first showed a beautiful blue-green world orbiting a yellow star. 200 years ago, humanity took its first steps into the galactic community. You were primitive by our standards. No energy shields, crude weapons, barely faster than light. Travel. The Hegemony Empire saw you as easy prey. The images shifted to show massive black warships surrounding Earth. The Hegemony demanded humanity's surrender and colonization rights to your world. When Earth refused, they prepared to demonstrate their superiority by destroying your major cities. Nathan watched in horror as the hologram showed alien ships powering their weapons toward Earth's surface. What happened next? The power manifested for the first time, Zixandra continued. We didn't understand it then. We still don't fully understand it now. But something fundamental in the universe shifted when the Hegemony fired their first shot at a human city. The holographic display changed to show something impossible. The Hegemony fleet simply stopped. Not destroyed, not disabled. They ceased to exist as if they had never been built. Entire star systems that housed Hegemony worlds flickered out of existence like blown candles. In less than 6 hours, the Elder explained, the entire Hegemony Empire, 12 star systems, 43 worlds, over 2 billion beings, was erased from reality. Not killed, not conquered, erased. As if the universe itself decided they should never have existed. Corinth, the massive rock-skinned being from the marketplace, spoke from his section. The power doesn't follow the laws of physics we understand. It doesn't use weapons or armies, it simply corrects what it perceives as a fundamental wrong. Nathan's face had gone pale. That's impossible. Nothing has that kind of power. The Klaxon Dominion thought the same thing 70 years later, Zixandra replied grimly. They studied the Hegemony's fate and concluded it was some kind of cosmic anomaly. They attacked a human colony ship to test their theory. New images appeared showing another proud alien civilization. The Klaxons were more careful. They used untraceable weapons, made it look like pirates. They thought they were clever. The display shifted to show Klaxon worlds simply vanishing from star charts. The power doesn't care about clever. Within 4 hours, the Klaxon Dominion joined the Hegemony in non-existence. 40 billion beings, gone as if they had never drawn breath. A small insectoid representative buzzed forward nervously. Elder, surely there must be some explanation. Some technology, some alliance that protects the humans. Zixandra's crystalline form pulsed with ancient sadness. We've studied this phenomenon for 2 centuries. The best theory, our greatest scientists, have developed is that consciousness itself, the universe's awareness, has designated humanity as necessary, essential to reality's continued existence. That's ridiculous, Nathan protested, though his voice lacked conviction. Is it? The elder challenged. Humans are the only species that creates art from suffering, that finds beauty in struggle, that grows stronger under pressure rather than breaking. You're the only beings who consistently choose hope over logic, love over survival. Perhaps the universe recognizes something in humanity that even you don't see. The chamber's emergency alert suddenly intensified. A communication. Officer rushed to Zixandra's side, whispering urgently. The elder's form flickered with alarm. The draconian homeworld has just sent a desperate transmission, she announced. Their sun is beginning to collapse into itself. They're begging for mercy, offering complete surrender and reparations. Nathan stood up, his diplomat training kicking, in despite his shock. Then we can stop this. I'll contact Earth Command, arrange negotiations. You misunderstand, young human. Zixandra interrupted gently. The power doesn't negotiate. It doesn't forgive. It simply maintains the balance it has decreed. The Draconians attacked humans knowing the consequences. Their fate was sealed the moment they fired the first shot. As if to emphasize her words, a distant rumble shook the entire station. Through the vast viewports, they could see stars in the Draconian sector flickering and dying one by one. Nathan sank back into his chair, the weight of understanding finally settling upon him. How many of my people know about this? Very few, Zixandra replied. Your leaders decided that humanity should remain innocent of this knowledge. They feared that knowing about the power might change what makes you uniquely human. The dying stars continued their silent dance of destruction as the assembled galaxy watched in terrified awe, reminded once again why no one dares harm a human anymore. 3 days after the Draconian Empire's complete erasure from existence, Ambassador Nathan Cross found himself in the private quarters of Elder Zixandra aboard Galactic Station Epsilon 7. The ancient Vorthelli had requested this meeting to help him understand the deeper truth about his species and the power that protected them. The universe chose humanity for a reason, Zixandra began, her crystalline form glowing softly in the dimmed chamber. But that reason isn't what most beings assume. Nathan sat across from her, still struggling to process everything he'd learned. Everyone thinks we're weak. I've seen how other species view us. Primitive, barely space-worthy, technologically inferior. And they're correct on all counts, the elder replied. Your weapons are crude compared to Zephyrian plasma cannons. Your ships are slow compared to Valdorian quantum drives. Your shields are pathetic compared to Nexari energy barriers. Yet somehow, whenever your species faces extinction, you not only survive, you thrive. She gestured, and holographic displays filled the air around them. Let me show you something your own historians may have forgotten. The Siege of Colony Kepler 442. The hologram showed a small human settlement on a barren world, surrounded by massive alien siege engines. 80 years ago, the Brutaxi Collective decided to test humanity's resolve. They besieged your outer colony for 2 full years, cutting off all supplies and communication. Nathan watched as the images showed the colony's defenses slowly failing, buildings crumbling under constant bombardment. This looks like a massacre waiting to happen. The Brutaxi thought so too, Zixandra continued. They had superior numbers, better weapons, complete orbital control. Any rational species would have surrendered within weeks. But humans don't think rationally when threatened. The display shifted to show the colonists' response. Instead of surrendering, they had begun digging. Your people created an underground network spanning the entire colony. They recycled their own waste for nutrients, generated power from geothermal vents, and turned their children's toys into communication devices. Nathan leaned forward, fascinated despite himself. How long did they hold out? 26 months, the elder replied. When the Brutaxi finally breached the main settlement, they found it empty. Every human had vanished into tunnels they never knew existed. But that's not the remarkable part. The hologram changed to show Brutaxi soldiers exploring the empty buildings, growing increasingly nervous. Your colonists had been studying their attackers for 2 years, learning their patrol patterns, their weaknesses, their psychology. What happened next defied all military logic. New images showed small groups of humans emerging from hidden positions, striking at Brutaxi supply lines and communication networks. 87 humans with improvised weapons began systematically dismantling a siege force of 12,000. They didn't fight battles, they fought mines. Nathan watched in amazement as the displays showed Brutaxi soldiers becoming increasingly paranoid, jumping at shadows, abandoning positions without clear reason. Psychological warfare? Beyond anything we'd ever witnessed, Zixandra confirmed. Your people left messages in perfect Brutaxi script describing exactly how they planned to kill specific soldiers. They knew their names, their family members, back home their fears. The humans had been listening to private communications for months. The siege army began to crumble as soldiers deserted or requested transfers. Within 6 months, the Brutaxi collective withdrew entirely, not because they couldn't win, but because their own troops refused to fight humans anymore. Nathan shook his head in disbelief. That's impossible. How could 87 colonists defeat an army? Because humans are persistence hunters, the elder explained. On your homeworld, your ancestors hunted creatures much larger and stronger than themselves. But instead of using speed or strength, they used endurance and intelligence. They would track prey for days, weeks even, never giving up until their target collapsed from exhaustion. She gestured again, showing evolutionary diagrams of early humans. That hunting instinct never disappeared. When threatened, humans don't just fight back. They study, adapt, and pursue until their threat is eliminated completely. You're the only species that becomes more dangerous the longer a conflict lasts. The displays shifted to show other historical examples. The War of Proxima Station. Humans defended a strategic outpost for 3 years against overwhelming odds. By the end, they had reverse-engineered enemy technology, turned captured weapons against their creators and recruited allies from among their attackers' own ranks. Nathan began to see the pattern. We don't just survive, we learn. Exactly, Zixandra nodded. The Battle of the Void Gates. When the hegemony first attacked Earth, your military was hopelessly outmatched. But instead of surrendering, human generals began studying hegemony tactics in real time. By the 4th engagement, they were predicting enemy movements with disturbing accuracy. The elder's form darkened slightly. That's when the power first manifested. The universe watched. Humanity face impossible odds and refused to yield. It observed your species' unique ability to transform suffering into strength, to find hope in hopelessness. And it decided that such persistence deserved protection. Nathan felt a chill run down his spine. You're saying the universe itself chose us because we don't know when to quit? More than that, Zixandra replied softly. Every other species, when faced with extinction, either fights desperately or surrenders gracefully. Humans do neither. You analyze your enemies, understand them better than they understand themselves, and then systematically dismantle them using their own weaknesses against them. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. The power doesn't protect humanity because you're innocent or peaceful. It protects you because when humans are truly threatened, you become something that terrifies even cosmic forces. You become unstoppable. Nathan looked out through the viewport at the void where the Draconian Empire once existed. And anyone who harms us faces that same fate? The power ensures they never get the chance to see what humans become when pushed too far, the elder confirmed. Because by the time your species reaches that point, entire civilizations would already be lost. In the distance, search and rescue ships continued their futile mission, looking for any trace of the 43 star systems that had simply ceased to exist 3 days ago. 1 week after the Draconian erasure, the emergency session of the Galactic High Council convened on the neutral world of Terminus Prime. Ambassador Nathan Cross sat in the human observer section, still grappling with his newfound understanding of his species' cosmic significance. The massive chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from the remaining major powers gathered to address an unprecedented crisis. Supreme Chancellor Vexthar of the Alterian Federation called the session to order. His normally composed blue features showed deep concern as he addressed the assembly. We face a situation that threatens the stability of our entire galactic civilization. 3 separate star nations have declared their intention to test the human protection phenomenon. A collective gasp rippled through the gathered delegates. Nathan felt his blood run cold as the Chancellor continued. The Coranian Empire, the Thessian Collective, and the Mordani Republic have formed what they call the Truth Alliance. They believe the erasure of previous civilizations was an elaborate deception designed to protect a primitive species through fear and trickery. From the Coranian section, General Thrackmore rose to address the assembly. His insectoid features clicked with defiance as he spoke. Honored delegates, we refuse to live in terror of shadows and fairy tales. No force in the universe can simply erase entire star systems. The disappearances of the hegemony, the Klaxons, and the Draconians are elaborate hoaxes designed to elevate humanity beyond their rightful place. Elder Zixandra's crystalline form pulsed with alarm from the Ancient Advisors section. General Thrackmore, you speak of things beyond your comprehension. You have witnessed nothing but theatrical displays, the Coranian general interrupted. Advanced holographic technology, coordinated propaganda, perhaps even dimensional manipulation to create the illusion of erasure. But actual cosmic powers that selectively protect one species impossible. Nathan stood up, his diplomatic training warring with growing panic. General, I beg you to reconsider. Even if you doubt the historical accounts, surely the risk, interrupted Admiral Zephon of the Thessian Collective, is allowing this charade to continue. Humanity has manipulated galactic politics for centuries through manufactured fear. We demand proof of this so-called power. The third member of the alliance, Empress Kalira of the Mordani Republic, added her voice to the defiance. Our combined fleets will conduct simultaneous strikes against human targets in 3 separate sectors. If this mystical protection exists, let it reveal itself. If not, humanity will learn their proper place in the galactic hierarchy. The chamber erupted in chaos as delegates shouted warnings, protests, and desperate pleas. Nathan found himself surrounded by alien representatives begging him to contact Earth and arrange some kind of demonstration or negotiation. You don't understand, Nathan said, his voice cutting through the noise. I can't stop what's about to happen. None of us can. Chancellor Vexthar managed to restore order. Ambassador Cross, surely Earth Command has some influence over this power? Some way to prevent unnecessary destruction? Nathan shook his head grimly. According to Elder Zixandra, the power doesn't negotiate. It doesn't warn. It simply responds to threats against humanity with absolute finality. General Thrackmore clicked his mandibles dismissively. More mystical nonsense. Our intelligence networks have monitored human communications for months. We've found no evidence of any protective technology or alliance. Your species is as vulnerable as we suspected. When do you plan to conduct these tests? Asked Nathan, dreading the answer. The attacks are already underway, Admiral Zephon announced with satisfaction. Our fleets opened fire on human research stations and transport vessels 47 minutes ago. If your mysterious power exists, it should have responded by now. The chamber fell into absolute silence. Even the most skeptical delegates understood the implications of what had just been revealed. Nathan closed his eyes, counting the seconds until the inevitable. Elder Zixandra's voice broke the quiet, filled with ancient sorrow. You have doomed yourselves. All 3 of your civilizations will cease to exist within the next few hours. Enough theatrics, General Thrackmore snapped. Our forces report successful engagement of human targets. No mysterious interventions, no cosmic erasures. The myth has been... He stopped mid-sentence, his compound eyes focusing on something beyond the assembly. Through the chamber's massive transparent dome, the stars were changing. In 3 different sectors of visible space, entire constellations were flickering and dying. The Coranian general's confident posture crumbled as communication alerts began. flooding his personal device. His aide rushed to his side, whispering urgent reports that drained all color from his exoskeleton. "Impossible," he whispered. "Our homeworld, the sensor readings. This can't be happening." Admiral Zephan was receiving similar reports, her tentacles writhing in panic as she processed the incoming data. "The entire Thessian core system is experiencing gravitational anomalies. Our sun it's collapsing into itself." Empress Kalira stood frozen as her own communications device painted an equally impossible picture. "The Mordani Republic's 17 worlds are reporting temporal distortions. Time itself is unraveling in our space." Nathan watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as the three most powerful military leaders in the galaxy realized their civilizations were ending in real time. The Truth Alliance had sought proof of the power's existence. They were about to receive the most definitive answer possible. Through the dome above, more stars continued their silent dance of destruction as three proud civilizations learned, too late, why no one dares harm a human anymore. The price of defiance, as always, was absolute and final. In the growing darkness between dying stars, something vast and incomprehensible turned its attention elsewhere. Its work complete once again. 3 months had passed since the simultaneous erasure of the Koranian Empire, Thessian Collective, and Mordani Republic. The galaxy had fundamentally changed in ways both visible and invisible. Ambassador Nathan Cross stood before the largest assembly in galactic history, representing not just Earth, but the species that had become the unintentional center of cosmic order. The Great Assembly Hall on Nexus Prime had been expanded to accommodate delegates from over 800 worlds. What had once been a loose confederation of trading partners and occasional allies had transformed into something approaching a unified galactic government, all centered around one simple principle: the absolute protection of humanity. Nathan looked out at the sea of alien faces, each one showing the same mixture of respect, fear, and desperate hope. The galaxy had learned its lesson, but at the cost of 67 billion lives across 6 star systems that no longer existed. Supreme Coordinator This Ina of the newly formed Galactic Protection Council called the assembly to order. Her insectoid features were carefully composed as she addressed the unprecedented gathering. "We convene today to establish the new protocols that will govern our shared future," she announced. "The Universal Human Protection Accords will ensure that what happened to our lost civilizations never occurs again." Elder Zixandra, now serving as the Chief Historical Advisor, projected images above the assembly. "Let us remember those who are no longer here to learn from their mistakes. The Koranian Empire, masters of biotechnology for 3 millennia. The Thessian Collective, explorers of 12 galaxies. The Mordani Republic, keepers of the greatest libraries in known space, all erased because they forgot the one universal law." Nathan stepped forward to address the assembly. In the months since the erasures, he had studied every historical account, every witness testimony, every scrap of evidence about the power that protected his kind. The weight of that knowledge had changed him. "Honored delegates," he began, his voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber, "I've learned that my species carries a responsibility we never asked for and barely understand. We are not your rulers, we are not your gods, and we certainly didn't choose to be your protected class." A murmur ran through the assembly. This was not what many had expected to hear. "But we accept the reality of our situation," Nathan continued. "Humanity will use this protection not to dominate, but to serve as guardians of galactic peace. We propose the establishment of the Human Mediation Corps, volunteers from Earth who will help resolve conflicts before they escalate to violence." From the Valdorian section, Ambassador Kreltos stood to speak. "With respect, Ambassador Cross, many of us wonder if humans truly understand the scope of their protection. Our scientists have detected something disturbing." The chamber fell silent as Kreltos activated his own holographic display. "Following each erasure event, we've observed reality itself adapting. The universal constants in those regions have shifted. It's as if the cosmos is actively rewriting the laws of physics to accommodate humanity's continued existence." Elder Zixandra's crystalline form darkened. What are you suggesting? That the power isn't just protecting humans, Kreltos replied, grimly. It's reshaping the entire universe around them. Every star that dies for harming a human makes the remaining stars burn a little brighter in human-occupied space. Every civilization that's erased leaves resources that somehow find their way to human colonies. Nathan felt a chill run down his spine. You're saying the universe is actively favoring our expansion? The data is undeniable, confirmed Dr. Vixara from the Zephyrian Science Consortium. Human agricultural yields have increased by 37% since the first erasure. Your mineral extraction efficiency has improved dramatically. Even your birth rates have climbed steadily. It's as if reality itself wants humanity to thrive. The implications hung heavy in the chamber. Nathan realized that the protection wasn't just defensive, it was actively ensuring human prosperity at a cosmic level. Then we have an even greater responsibility, he declared. If the universe is truly reshaping itself around humanity, we must prove worthy of that trust. The Human Mediation Corps will be just the beginning. He gestured, and new holographic displays showed proposed human settlements throughout the galaxy. We will establish peaceful human communities in every major sector, not as conquerors or overlords, but as living reminders of the consequences of warfare. Our presence will serve as a deterrent to conflict itself. From the Ancient Advisors section, a voice spoke that hadn't been heard in the assembly before. Arshan Zalthes, oldest living being in the galaxy at over 10,000 years, slowly rose to address the gathering. Young human, the ancient being, wheezed. You speak of responsibility and service, but do you understand what your species truly represents to the cosmos? Nathan turned respectfully toward the Archon. Please, honored elder, share your wisdom.